Welcome back. It is Tuesday, the 13th of January 2026. Now, if you've watched a couple of my other videos, you would see that I had actually done the shutters the other day, but it all went catastrophically wrong. Please watch on and you will see how I managed to sort out the issue. And these three shutters are going to be the first ones that we fit. So we're going to start off by unwrapping them all. So we've got three. This one's obviously for the door. Let's unwrap them and have a look at the instructions on how do we fit these DIY shutters from Blinds to Go. Okay, so we have got them all unwrapped. That's the door. We have got the bigger window for there, the smaller window for on top. Now, what we need to do is it comes with a load of these brackets, and it's apparently very simple. So let me set you up there. Is that you need to use a credit card or my office pass, put that on the window, and then you get this with the vertical bit like that, so the angle bit goes over the angle bracket, and then you should be able to slide that between the glass and the rubber seal, and then there's 4 for each one. So put that there, grab the bracket, put it on, slide it into position, job done. And then we'll do the same at the top. So up there, card in place, bracket on, up, and then card over here, bracket on, slide up into place, and it should be as easy as that. Now what it's telling me now is that we should be able to get the window, slot it onto the 2 bottom brackets, and then we should be able to put it into position on the 2 top ones. But annoyingly, that looks a little bit small. Let me see if I can just push them down a little bit. And just like that. And then this is how you open it. Weirdly, that hits the window. That's a bit of a foul. Let me see if I can figure that out. Because at the moment, that hits the window. You see through there, it hits the window. And that shouldn't do that. Let me have a little figure out, and then I'll show you what I'll come up with. Right, welcome back. So this is the reason why we only bought the shutters for the office, being the smallest room, before doing both the bays. So when we were measuring these on Blinds to Go, one of the measurements that you have is from the glass to the edge of the frame, and it needs to be a minimum of 18 to 21 or 22 millimeters. Now ours is very shallow. It's like 14, 15 millimeters max. So when I've put these brackets in, I'll take these spacers out for a second. What happens is, when we put the shutter on, these should be pushing against the side of the frame, but they don't. As you can see, there's a lot of movement in that. So when we, these don't take a second to put back on, so I'll show you. So when we get the shutter and we line it up with the 2 bottom mounts, like that and like that, you can see it's pushing the brackets out. They're not sitting flush on it, and then when we come up to the top, these brackets are not even touching. So when we take them off, take the shutter off, and if we put a 10mm worth of packer behind it. So now, with 10mm of packers behind it, you can see that these brackets are lovely and flush. This bracket here, this bracket, lovely and flush. It's also holding in there pretty solid. You can open and shut it. They shut okay, they're not amazing. The small ones shut and are black out a lot more than the big ones. So if we shut that, you can see that the top one shuts pretty nice. But as we look down the bottom, this one, you have to shut a little bit more manual. I think it's because it's so tall. Had exactly the same problem with this one. So behind there you can see there's 10mm of packers, 10mm packers. This one, there is no packers on this one. So, oh, it's a bit stiff. This door is actually a different design UPVC to the windows. So that means that we were able to order the right stuff for this one. So when I put the brackets in, so there's 2 brackets at the bottom and there's 1 each side just below where the handle is. If you see, the handle is there, come down, another one, and then there's 2 at the top. This also is nice and close to the window frame to not let a lot of light through. This one, because again we are outside of their minimum sizes, it sits proud, or it sits away from the window, so lets quite a lot of light in. Now that is something that we could trim up and it would be absolutely fine. But yeah, it was a bit of a positive, little bit of a DIY shutter foul. I think they look a lot better than some of the really big framed ones that you get from a company that cost thousands. I think this cost about £345, £350 for the 3 of these. So cost effectiveness is much more cost effective. But yeah, happy with these, or happy with this one. Just need to decide what we're going to do with this one. Now, as you can see, I used brown packers because they were the only ones that I had. Obviously, I can buy white packers, so I think I'm going to order some white packers, take this one and this one back off, wedge the brackets with white, and stick these back on. And we can decide whether we're going to do the other bedroom and the living room downstairs the same. But yeah, as you can see, not every project goes exactly to plan. This is why when you're making a big spend like these shutters, I think if we were to get the living room and the bedroom done at the same time, it was around £3,000. This is why I thought it would be a good idea to do the smallest room first to see how well they fitted, and then if we decided to do the others, we can. Plus also, you're measuring these yourself. It is really simple how to measure it, but you are measuring yourself. So it was a test to see whether the measurements that we took were actually correct or whether they were too small or too big. They fit perfectly. It is purely them brackets that are the frustrating point, and I feel like they could make some narrower brackets or some supports for the brackets that would make them fit a lot more windows. These flush fit windows are becoming more common, so I don't know. Right, so hopefully you've seen the other videos leading up to this, and this is what our blinds to go shutters look like fitted. So with the packers taken out, you can see there that they move because they're not flush against the frame, and the same with the bottom ones. And all I did was cut down a small packer, or 2 packers, and wedge 10mm in behind there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace them with these. Let me see if I can get the pack open. And these are much smaller, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to wedge them in behind, put a little dab of hot glue above to hold them in place, and then refit the shutter. So it's going to be hard for you to see, But inside there, I've put the little plastic bit and I've put a blob of hot glue on the bracket and on the window frame. I've done that each side and I've done all 4 of them. So now I need to refit the shutter and make sure they all fit. And just like that, it's pretty much completely hidden. The brackets fit lovely. They're nice and flat on the top. They're nice and flat on the bottom. No more brown packers. Let's do the last one up there, and then that'll be another job ticked off the list. Right, and that is all of the shutters done. So I did have to cut down the little bits that I was putting behind the brackets up here, because this one only needed 5mm, but as you can see, it's pretty bang on. Everything's done, everything's glued, everything's cooled down. This one didn't need it because this is a different door frame compared to the other windows. But yeah, that's it. I think they look really good. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.